they'll just find something wrong. If you've ever said that, or if someone you love says it every time you bring up the doctor, I need you to stay right here because that belief, it feels like self-protection. And today I'm going to tell you why it's not. So before I say anything else, I want to name something. The people who say this, they're not being foolish and they're not in denial. There's actually a logic to it. So you go to your doctor, they find something, then you're in the system, and then it never ends. More appointments, more prescriptions, more referrals, more things to worry about, more reminders that your body is changing. And maybe, just maybe, you've watched someone you love go through that and you decided, not me. And I hear this every week. Now, I can already hear some of you thinking, but Florence, isn't that sometimes true? Don't doctors overtest? Are we sure the system always has our best interest? The system isn't perfect, and there are financial incentives in medicine that aren't always aligned with your care. I'm not going to pretend otherwise, but here's what I really need you to sit with. There is a gap, and there's a gap between a system that is imperfect and being better off not knowing what's happening in your body. Those are two different things. And when we confuse them, it costs us a lot. Here's what I know from years at the bedside. The conditions that kill people quietly, the ones that sneak up, they almost never announce themselves. Hypertension, high blood pressure, about 74% of adults over 65 have it, 1 of 5 cases, undiagnosed. The person has no idea. They feel fine. Another one, kidney disease. So there's this study. It's older adults with kidney disease. 85% of them didn't know. Nothing told them. No one told them. So there's this large study published in a major medical journal. It looked at over 300 patients with blood pressure readings that should have triggered a diagnosis. Almost 15% had their diagnosis delayed. And that delay, even just 1 year, increased their risk of a cardiovascular event by nearly 30%. Your body isn't sending you smoke signals before the house is already burning. That's the nature of these conditions. They work quietly, and by the time you feel them, options are way narrower. There's a patient I think about often. She was in her early 70s, very sharp, very funny, stubborn in all the best ways. And she hadn't been to her primary care doctor in nearly over 2 years, I would say. And every time her daughter brought it up, she said the same thing. They're just going to find something wrong. And I'll be going to appointments forever. I feel fine. Leave me alone. And her daughter eventually finally got her there. And yeah, they did find things. Her blood pressure had been quietly climbing for months. Her kidneys were starting to show strain, and there was a rhythm issue with her heart that she had absolutely no idea about. And her first reaction, you see, I knew it. I went and now look, 3 problems. And I want to sit with that for a second because that reaction makes complete sense. It feels like going to the doctor made things worse. But I want you to understand something. Those 3 things were not created by that visit. They were already there. Being quiet, being silent while she was tending to her garden and going to church and doing all the things and feeling fine. The visit didn't create the problems. The visit found them while there was still time to act. And her doctor adjusted her medications, got her to a cardiologist, and they built an entire plan. To this day, she's still going and still giving her daughter a hard time for sure. If she had waited another year, though, I can't tell you exactly what would have happened. But what I can tell you is that silent things left alone long enough, they're not going to stay silent. Let's do something here really quick. Let's name what this fear is actually about. Because when we name it, it's going to lose its grip. So your fear or hesitancy in going to the doctor is probably making you think things like, if they find something, my life is going to change, or I'll lose my independence, or I can't afford more appointments or medications, or I don't feel heard when I'm there anyway, or I watch someone I love suffer and I don't want that for me. No way. And every single one of these is valid, and I want to speak to 2 of them directly because these I hear so often. The independence one. This is huge, and I want to be really honest. Some of you have had experiences where a diagnosis probably did lead to losing independence, like, a driving restriction, or maybe a family member who used the diagnosis to take over your entire health. Those experiences are real and they do leave marks. But here is the reframe that I want to offer you. Knowledge is not the same as a loss of control when you understand what's happening in your body. For instance, your numbers, your risks, your options. You're in a stronger position to make your decisions, not a weaker one. Remember this, Ignorance is not going to protect your independence. It just delays the moment when someone else makes those decisions for you. And it's usually in a crisis moment, usually in the emergency room. And the financial concern, I'm not going to dismiss that. That was a huge one too. But I'm going to say this quite honestly with you. The cost of one emergency hospitalization is almost always greater than months of managed care in dollars, in recovery time, and what it costs the people who love you every single time. Now, I also want to name something that doesn't get said enough. Some of you aren't avoiding the doctor because of fear. You're avoiding it because you've genuinely felt dismissed or rushed, like you're a chart number, not a person, like you're in the assembly line. And I've talked about this before on this channel because it's real and it matters and it's not your fault. And here's what I need you to hear. I want you to look at this in a different angle. There's this unspoken contract between patients and providers. When that contract works, for instance, when the provider is listening, when the patient feels seen, and when there's trust that's present, the outcomes change. And studies show that consistent care with a provider you trust actually reduces hospitalizations, and that's not a small number. However, when the contract breaks, when the patients go silent and providers miss what matters, that's when care fails. It's not from a lack of knowledge, it's from that lack of connection. And here's what gets me. The solution to a broken contract is not walking away from the table, it's coming back to it better prepared. And that is what this channel is all about. It's to give you tools to hold up your side of the contract with confidence, with clarity, and knowing what to say and knowing what to ask, knowing you have the right to be heard. And there's more of that coming, but right now I want to make sure you have something before your next appointment. I created something for you. It's a free doctor visit conversation card. It's specifically designed for anyone managing chronic conditions and for the families and caregivers who love them. It's 5 questions to bring to any appointment. There's space for your most important medications. It's a quick reference for symptoms that shouldn't wait. And it's free and it's printable. It's simple enough to keep on your fridge or in your wallet. The link is in the description. And I want to hear from you. Has this ever kept you or someone you love away from the doctor? Drop it in the comments because their story and yours matters more than you know. Please remember this. You were made for more than surviving in silence. Just keep showing up. And I'll see you in the next one.
I need you to lift me up. Lord, I cannot do this on my own. Take the wheel. Can you please just